for your patience. Well, all right. Thank you everyone for your patience so we could make sure everybody was able to join. My name's Sarah Cinnamon and I'm our elections chair for our local currently. And we have our whole elections committee here today to help kind of moderate the forum. My role here is as the moderator, just kind of going through the questions as each candidate answers. Each person will have, or each candidate will have 2 minutes for their intro and then 3 minutes to answer each question. So a total of 9 minutes. The roles of the committee here, we have Ross as our kind of webinar and technical point person. Molly's going to help us keep time as the candidates are speaking. She's going to hold up a sign when you get to your 30-second countdown and then the sign that says time is up. Thank you, Molly. TJ is going to go over some ground rules and the closing, also kind of track our Q&A. And then Seema is going to help track the Q&A as well and is another webinar backup technical point person. So without any further ado, TJ, going to go over some ground rules for us.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so we just have a few ground rules for our very first candidate forum. The first is that statements should remain respectful. The statements should be focused on the candidates' campaigns. We ask that the candidates talk about problems, not people, and we will be very strict on the time allotment. Candidates should be watching Molly's screen for the 30-second notice, and we will be cutting you off if you hit the end of your 3 minutes. So that's it. Let's start.
Yeah, and also I just want to jump in really quick and clarify. So we've got questions we'll be giving folks, but there isn't actually a Q&A function for you all. I just wanted to clarify that really quick.
Okay, I just heard that somebody said that it was a little hard to hear me. Is that a little bit better? Let me bring the mic up a bit. Is that a little bit better? Also want to clarify, I'm sorry, folks, we developed the questions so that we wouldn't have a Q&A. So we're not doing a separate Q&A of the candidates. It's going to be the 3 questions per candidate. And our first speaker is going to be Michael Stewart.
And how we're going to do this real quick is I'm going to bring them into the panel. So just give me a second, folks.
Okay.
And then once they're done, I will put them back in the audience.
Two minutes for the intro, yes.
Can you guys hear me okay? All right.
We can.
All right. So my name is Michael Stewart, and I've worked as a medical assistant in internal medicine for 19 years. I've been active in our local for 14 years, serving as president, political action committee chair, vice president, and chief steward. My first act as chief steward was to take direct action to rally our members in EVS to confront a long history of managerial abuse by empowering them to take action on their own and accomplish major changes in EVS leadership, removing the abuse of supervisors and managers. I have served 328 members through on-site membership drives, canvas for worker-friendly candidates, bargaining pickets, volunteer member organizing, and several other ways. I initiated the creation of the DEI committee as a way to better serve our BIPOC LGBTQIA+ members. I recruited our current communications chair, Missy Beavers, our current DEI chair, TJ Asina, and our incoming DEI chair, CG, and our current vice president, Sarah Curtis, into those leadership roles. I reached out to O&A and improved a previously difficult relationship, resulting in O&A becoming a large part of our most recent contract campaign. I had been on 5 of the last 6 bargaining teams. I was 328's vice president on the 2019 team and president for the 2022 team. These 2 teams each delivered the best 2 contracts in the history of our local. I have a proven record of delivering for the members of 328. I am grateful that the members of our local have allowed me to serve as a member leader and to deliver for them.
All right, thank you, Michael. Okay, so for the question part, the first question is, what direction do you see the union and how will you work to get there?
So we've
Going.
seen,
I should add going.
okay. We've seen, I think it's a couple of things. I think we've seen a resurgence in the labor movement. You know, this summer's been called the summer of strike. I see and it's true for 328 too. We've seen a local that has been far more assertive in the last two bargaining campaigns, especially, and in their workplaces. I see the labor movement continuing to be resurgent as we welcome younger, more diverse generation who is more aware, involved, and assertive as they respond to climate change, growing income inequality, and attempts to silence them through legislation. We need to welcome them in and empower them. We need to actively recruit this younger generation so that we can assure that later on down the road that we have a strong cadre of activists. Sarah and I have done that. We have a proven record of doing that. We've connected with the younger next generation of leaders that are coming in. All you have to do is ask our campaign team, who are all from that generation, and they'll tell you. I also see, you know, we're also going to be growing, obviously, if the legacy merger comes through. And we need to double down on organizing, because if we get that large, we're going to have to really be organized and bring those folks in and get them active as well. We need to improve, continue to work and improve new employee orientation. We need to utilize, one thing we can do also is utilize at-large board members to reach out to those satellite clinics. One way we can do that is to have that person connect with a point of contact in each of those satellite clinics once a month, and then have quarterly meetings with the rest of the folks. And we can do that kind of thing with work-at-home folks too, but we can divide it up by like a job classification or location or something of that nature. We need to just work harder to organize to empower our membership. We also need to start bargaining outreach earlier so we can have a clear indication of what our members need and want in the next bargaining session. We need to train our folks earlier. I've set up a bargaining training with LERC, which will take place in the fall. I have a ton more stuff here, but I'm running out of time. We need to recruit more and have a better representation of our BIPOC community in both the bargaining team and our leadership.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2, what do you think is the biggest challenge for the labor movement right now?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think number one is, as I mentioned before, is making sure we bring and empower that younger generation. The immediate challenge is to recover from the effects of COVID, of the pandemic. You know, we've all experienced the burnout and the difficulties of continuing to work through that experience, and we need to make sure that we're providing what folks need to recover from that, and we need to take into consideration those things as we move forward. But the second thing, again, is to engage those younger leaders. We cannot continue to count on what would be our traditional way of doing things. We have to combine what is a proven tradition of union organizing with new ways of doing things that will reach out and connect with those younger leaders. They have not had a time where they haven't had more information at their fingertips than I had in the library growing up, and we have to respect that. We have to understand that they're more engaged and more knowledgeable than we were, and bring them in for that, and respect that, and not expect them to sit back and wait for us to say, okay, it's your turn now. It's their turn now, because of the fact of what we're seeing. I mean, they are inheriting a lot of difficult situations. I also see that we're going to have, as the resurgent union movement continues, we're going to have legislators and anti-union organizations coming at us even harder. And we need to double down and continue to work to get union-friendly politicians into office. We need to recruit that younger generation I keep talking about into those offices that are labor-friendly and are ready to do good things that are good for the community, good for the environment, good for working people. We need to join with them to bring down a system which has been created to lift up some, but to push down others. And I think that the combination of, veteran long-term union workers, activists, and the newer generation is going to be powerful going forward. And I think we can accomplish those things.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And you don't have to, I was going to say, if you could stop, you don't have to go the whole, I should clarify that for everyone, that you
Yeah.
don't have to use the full 3 minutes to answer each question if you don't want to. Really quick mic check. Does this sound a bit better? Does everybody hear me
Yes.
better? I found the settings and turned the volume, the input volume. Hopefully I'm not too loud now. Okay. So question number 3, what is your long-term goal as a union leader?
Yeah, I mean, to put into place a strong organizing system that we can count on for the long term, that people continue to join and to improve upon. That's one thing. I also want us to have, like I keep saying, a strong cadre of young leaders that are going to carry our local forward and carry the labor movement forward. I want us to reach into those underserved and underrepresented departments, so that we have, again, a strong base of which to recruit folks so we can better represent our local. We have one of the most diverse locals in the council, but we don't see that reflected in our bargaining team. We don't see that reflected in a lot of the leadership. We need to change that, and we need to make strong efforts to go into those departments and recruit those folks so that they know that our local is working for them and they're part of the solutions. That would be my long-term goals. I'd also like us to eventually, join the other locals on the Hill and and work in concert to really use our power that we have, because we have so many AFSCME locals on the Hill and ONA, to really essentially force OHSU to do the right things by the members and to make them be a better partner, to make them be a better community citizen. They oftentimes, OHSU is more concerned about expanding and building new buildings than they are about taking care of the workers. And if we can consolidate our power, continue to improve the relationships with the locals on the Hill, the other AFSCME locals on the Hill and ONA, we could be almost an unstoppable force. I started the meetings with the other locals up on the Hill when I became president. We didn't have that going. We didn't have that meeting going. We didn't meet with them on a monthly basis to try to coordinate our efforts. We now have that. The community liaison is the one who reaches out to those folks. I'd like us to continue to expand and deepen that relationship. And we've seen it pay off in the EBC and the Employees Benefits Council. We've seen that strength of working together and make some changes where next time we bring up we start to determine the makeup of our benefits, OHSU is going to have to work with us better and earlier. And that was through combined efforts of all the locals.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So our next panelist will be Jen Laverder.
1 second. Let me.
Give us just a moment while we switch the panelists around. Little technical things here. I don't know how to do it, so I'm glad Ross is in charge.
All right, Michael, I'm going to remove you. I hope this
Okay.
doesn't remove you from the actual event, we've actually not had to move people back. Can you see if you can remove yourself as a panelist? Sorry, everybody, to do this live.
I've removed myself from other stuff, but I don't know if I've ever removed myself as a panelist. Let's see here.
You know what? I'm in the wrong section. Let me see if I can do it here.
I've done that too. But
All right, I figured it out. Sorry, everybody. I got it.
No
Good
worries.
luck.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, gonna bring in Jen.
Okay. All right. I
All
think
right.
we can see you. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
So we're gonna do the 2 minutes for the intro and then the 3 questions where you have 3 minutes each. You can go ahead and start your intro.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Jen Lavender, and I'm excited for running for the vice president of Local 328 and being part of this historic forum. In September, I will have been an OHSU employee and union member for 17 years. I have been the Local 328 PAC chair for the past 2 years, and I have been an at-large executive board member on the Oregon AFSCME executive board for over 2 years. I was recently reelected to that position. I started at OHSU as in the field technical services group, where I was in the hospital helping all of you in different units with your computer problems, hardware, software, network. I led the unified communications deployment team for 3 years, where we deployed thousands of phones across campus. And then I joined the RISACS, which is Research Applications team, as a project manager. And currently I am working in the Clinical Business Intelligence group, where I have become our department's trainer, developing online content for our distributed workforce. I have been a remote worker since March 2020, and I live in Central Oregon. During my 3 decades in Portland, I was an activist working in various social justice movements and hosted a KBOO radio show for 2 decades.
Thank you. Question number 1. What direction do you see the union going, and how will you work to get there?
Thanks. Let's see. I want to see support for the current steward program. We need more stewards so that they can be the voice of the union in our departments across the institution. It's an excellent program. And what we know is that person-to-person discussions are the best way for people to learn about what's happening in the union. So we need more people from the steward program in the different departments across campus. Our bargaining unit is a little over 8,000 employees, and we need more members. Right now, we have about 77% of that 8,000 person unit that are paying dues. So that's about 2,000 people who are not paying dues. And what that does, when we have more people who pay dues, who are members, we will be able to show our strength at the bargaining table. So when we go into bargaining, we're going to have the full force of the full membership behind us. What we have seen recently is the reinitiation of the new employee orientation, and we have AFSCME representation there, which is great. But not everybody goes to those orientations. So we need to figure out how to reach the new people who are coming in and need to know that we exist and we are there for them. So one way that we have found through running this election campaign is that there are a lot of people out there who are interested in the union. We have recruited those people. And I think, you know, this is a good case for membership drives where we go out and talk to people one-on-one. The new normal in our union and OHSU is that we have a substantial member demographic that are remote workers. 1/4 of our bargaining unit are remote workers right now. So that is a demographic that we need to make sure we are addressing their concerns, from ergonomic workplace, stations to differentials for working from home. We need more professionalism in our approach. If we want to be taken seriously as member leaders, we need to be able to run efficient meetings, stay on top of our email, plan goals, and run campaigns to meet those goals. You can read more. Hopefully you can see what this says that at this website about our platform.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2, what do you think is the biggest challenge for the labor movement right now?
Yeah, I think the labor movement is a reflection of society at large. So we still have issues with racism, sexism, homophobia ad nauseum. Those have plagued the labor movement historically. We've made strides in lots of different areas, but there are still issues that need to be wrangled with in the labor movement. We have a conservative Supreme Court that just overturned Janus in 2018, and they're going to be with us for a really long time. And that overturning Janus basically put the burden on unions to seek out members rather than collecting mandatory fair share fees to cover the cost of collective bargaining. And that was a 40-year precedent. So, you know, in Roe versus Wade, we have lots of information that this is not a friendly Supreme Court. There's underfunding and understaffing of the National Labor Relations Board. In late 2022, the National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB, got $25 million more in their budget than they had since 2014. That was the first time they got more money. And what they do is they are the ones who are taking these complaints from union organizing efforts across the country, and they make decisions. And so without funding, without staffing, they're, you know, really hampered in that responsibility. They have increased their cases by 13% in just 1 year. So there's a lot of organizing going on, but there's not enough support in trying to hold these corporations accountable. So, and what we also have is a lot of corporations that have deep pockets: Amazon, Starbucks, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and, you know, Walmart. And they have all this money, and they can pay the fines from the NLRB, and they can ignore the violations and really wait out the workers who don't have that cash to float through the decision period and the fighting for, you know, in the courts, et cetera. So we have a lot of challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 3, what is your long-term goal as a union leader?
We need to recruit members. We need membership drives. We need to build our numbers, and that builds our power, as I was talking about before. We need to increase member participation. When we get members involved in the Steward program, their concerns will be reflected in our priorities. And, you know, we need more members on the board. We need members in our different committees. Less than 10% of our membership voted in the current board. That's, you know, like, we need better representation. We need more people voicing their concern, their opinion through their vote. We need to mentor new member leaders. We have lots of veteran activists, union activists, who have lots of experience lots of historical knowledge, and we need to be able to pass that on to this really invigorated new generation of member leaders. We need to prepare for this legacy health merger. This is a huge change, historic change, and we don't know what that's going to look like for our members. We have started reaching out to SEIU to see what they are doing. They are the union that represents legacy health workers, and trying to work together to figure out how is this going to impact all these workers. I want to see a strong labor coalition of the HMC workers, the GRU workers, the House officers, the researchers, and the ONA, so that we have a strong, united voice on the OHSU campus. We need more pro-labor candidates in state and federal elections, and we need to better address climate chaos in our contracts, because, you know, this summer is just yet another example of how this problem is not going away and how it is impacting workers who work outside, the smoke issues. There's so many ways that we are going to be impacted by climate chaos. I am running on a slate with 4 other women. I couldn't remember how many of us there were for a moment. And we have a great platform. Please check it out, 328forthemembers.com. We have lots more information on there and information about how to ask us questions. Thank you for this time and this forum.
And thank you so much, Jen. All right, and now we will go to the next section for the president seat. We have, we have Sarah Curtis as our first speaker, and Ross is bringing her on as a panelist now.
I'm trying. We're having some
All right,
technical difficulties here.
All right. Thank you so much to everyone so far keeping to the time, and thank you, Molly, doing a great job as our timekeeper.
Sarah, I'm going to send you another invite. Please do accept that one.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Is it like, oh, I see. So she is in here. Oh, are we able to bring, looks like it's working now. Maybe.
Sarah, are you able to talk?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Real quickly, I've tried to promote you to panelist, but unfortunately, it's saying that the invitation was declined. Are you seeing the invitation?
There we go. Thank you.
There we go. Now we can see you. Okay, welcome, Sarah. Thank you. So we're going to do 2 minutes for an intro.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Curtis. Many of you have met me before pulling a little red wagon full of treats around the campus or dressed up as a giant T-Rex on holidays. I'm a managed care coordinator in centralized managed care. And for the last 2 years, it's been my great honor to serve as your vice president of AFSCME Local 328. I'm asking for your vote of president of our local. I'm proud of the accomplishments of our local over the last 2 years with the leadership that Michael and I have partnered to provide. We secured the best contract in our local's history with 17% raises over 3 years and $3,000 bonuses while adding nearly 1,000 new members in that time span. We fought for and passed the hospital safe staffing law, which will create mandatory staffing ratios for many of the job classifications in our bargaining unit, including respiratory therapists, EVS, pharmacists, and more. We created a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee within our local to support and grow our diverse workforce. I've been the primary organizer for a wide variety of events for our local, from membership appreciation events like 328 Day to rallies and actions to bolster our contract campaign, to targeted outreach after the ratification to assist individual departments in maximizing their benefits under the new contract. I've shared our members' stories with state lawmakers and thousands of fellow AFSCME members nationwide to build power for our local and support our shared interest in a safer workplace.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. The next question, question number 1. What direction do you see the union going and how will you work to get there?
Yeah. As president, I have specific plans for making our union stronger and more inclusive. I believe membership meetings and board meetings should be hybrid, on campus and online to encourage member participation. I plan to integrate feedback forms into our monthly emails so that members can weigh in on current topics, and to include the board meeting minutes in that for transparency purposes. The board votes should be made public and accessible, and members deserve to know how each board member votes. We also need to expand the translations that are available for our members. I want to meet our members where they are at. We will utilize new methods of connecting, like a local 328 app, Discord, podcasts, and having designated board positions that represent satellite clinics and remote workers. We'll create an elections page on our website so that anyone who is interested in running can readily access that information. I will center our union around a framework of inclusion by making the DEI chair and the internal communications chair into officers on our board. Our members' physical and mental well-being has been under constant strain the past few years. I want to partner with the Oregon Healthy Workforce Center to bring their total worker health approach to our members. This includes a wide variety of supports, from everything from mental health training for managers to reducing discrimination and harassment in the workplace and compliance with employment law. As your president, I will grow our power by continuing to build coalitions with other OHS unions, as well as locals from around our city, county, and state.
Okay. Question number 2. What do you think is the biggest challenge to the labor movement right now?
Yeah. The last 3 years have been incredibly difficult. People are burned out, they're overworked and understaffed. We need to continue to find new ways to support all of our members. Second, we need to be more inclusive of younger generations and build up new leaders. Younger generations are phenomenal union activists. We've seen this in organizing efforts at Starbucks, Burgerville, Amazon, and more. We need to adapt our traditional ways to include the strengths that they bring to the table. Finally, we need to guard against the outside forces that seek to strip away at our power. I will continue to fight for legislation like the Hospital Safe Staffing Bill and the bill that added a non-faculty seat on the OHSU board. I'm also currently the chief petitioner on a campaign finance reform bill, which would empower small grassroots donors to have a more equal say in our elections so that we can lift up candidates that support our labor values.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, what is your long-term goal as a union leader?
I see the future of our union as strong, united, and inclusive. I'll continue to help build up the Steward program and participate in membership drives to increase our membership. I will continue to build strong relationships that I have with other OHSU locals, ONA, and other AFSCME locals, such as the City of Portland and Multnomah County, the AFL-CIO, and more. We all benefit from uniting with our fellow unions. I'm also excited for the training opportunities and grant money that we're building for our local members, to support them in advancing their careers. We've partnered with United We Heal on a training trust, and we're currently collaborating with OHSU on a large grant that would pay for members to become CNAs, dental assistants, medical assistants, and more. We'll continue to invest in our members in new and creative ways. There's a lot on the line in this election. The leaders you choose will not only guide our union for the next 2 years, but will also be responsible for bargaining our next contract. Michael and I are the candidates who have put in the work and have the successful record to show for it. As the candidates with the proven experience, integrity, and results, we're asking for your vote.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for me.
Thank you for your time. Our next speaker will be coming on board here shortly. Thank you everyone for patience. We have Jenny Olson joining us. Our second candidate for a president seat.
It looks like my camera is taking a little bit to warm up. Oh no.
Okay, we'll give it a minute. Do you have a camera like, oh, there it goes. It just took a
Hi.
minute.
All right, let's see if I can get this lighting any better. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have Jenny Olson and you've got 2 minutes for your intro.
Thank you for holding this forum. And I'm going to read from I wrote this up because I don't usually share personal information like this with undisclosed amount of people. But my name is Jenny Olson. I am honored to be running for the presidency of Local 328. I've worked at OHSU and have been an active member of the union for 9 years. The past 7, I've been an active steward. I served on our last bargaining team. I am a lead steward and I'm the current secretary. I believe that I'm the best candidate for president, as I have a long tenure of serving the members of the union, as well as life experiences that have shaped my character and allow me to understand the fight that unites all of us, which is class solidarity. I was a freshman in college in Manhattan during 9/11, about 100 blocks north of Ground Zero, on a day that changed all American lives. Instead of going back home, I was resilient. I faced my fears and I continued my studies. 3 months after graduating from college, my family and I lost our home on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi during Hurricane Katrina. I was faced with the tremendous challenge of building my life up from almost nothing. I had to take the first job I was offered as a kennel attendant and custodian at an animal hospital where I literally shoveled dog poo. I have fought my entire adult life for a living wage, and I now focus my fight on retirement with dignity. I know what it's like to be completely dependent on your next paycheck, sometimes your current paycheck, and I know what it's like to be judged by your job title. I commit myself to recognizing the fight of workers at OHSU to realize a job that confers dignity and a quality of life, no matter what you do, so you don't have to struggle to live comfortably. My experiences make me uniquely able to face OHSU.
Okay, sorry, time is up. We made a rule that we would give a hard
Yes.
stop when time was up. So sorry about that, Jenny.
That's okay.
Question number 1. What direction do you see the union going and how will you work to get there?
Okay. I want our union to be democratic, member first, and member supported. So what a democratic union means to me is that the agenda should always originate from our members. We don't excel at this. And to change it, we need to actively engage all members by increased communication, transparency, and old-fashioned outreach. And the people who know what's best for them and what they need help with are our members. As leaders, we can try our best to address the needs, but if we don't have member input, leadership is just doing its best at what leadership thinks is the most important thing, and that's just not always on point. We should be encouraging all members to be active at all levels, including top leadership. We should publicize our work and make it accessible to everybody. We should encourage debate and discussion of issues. And if people have critical thoughts of our leaders or our policies, they should be able to freely express them in safe ways. We should be open to challenge because that makes us better leaders. And we need to organize our union in every way. Ensure that we build our membership, not just in numbers, but in confidence, strength, and expertise. I want our members to feel confident in the knowledge of our contract and know that they have strength to fight for their rights on the job at OHSU every single day. And we can expand that. We could do that by expanding educational opportunities, increasing outreach and communication. I also want to ensure that our union operates on a professional level and has all of our ducks in a row when we get to the bargaining table with OHSU. Currently, we are the largest AFSCME local in the state of Oregon, and we deserve top-tier leadership. Anything less is unacceptable, and we're only going to get bigger. Our next bargaining is going to take place either during or after OHSU's merger with Legacy. We don't know what that management structure is going to look like. It could possibly look worse than Lawrence Bernstall, which is mind-blowing, but that's actually what we may be facing. We don't know what challenges the merger will be bringing to our union, but I'm confident that due to my professional expertise in dealing with contracts, as I am a contracts and analyst at OHSU, my organizational skills and my people first skills, that I am the best person to lead our team now. Further, what sets Jen Laverdure, my running mate, and I apart from our opponents is that we're running on a slate. Our other three running mates, which are the chief steward, the secretary, and the treasurer, have already won their seats. We have actively worked together during this campaign, and we have an agenda that we are ready to bring day one to get us up and running and become a member-first organization.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2, what do you think is the biggest challenge for the labor movement right now?
So I think that the labor movement is having a renaissance. That's wonderful. New unions are being built and they're being talked about worldwide. And this is despite Janus and which really could have killed the labor movement, and what amounts to basically the cutting of the National Labor Relations Board by systemic underfunding and understaffing. Jen spoke really lovely way about this. So I really think that the real issue is what is a challenge for us at OHSU. We have to continually fight against the fallout of Janus by ensuring that all new represented employees become dues-paying members. Like it or not, the union can't exist and fight for the members without dues. It's vitally important that all of our members are dues-paying members. And we're only going to accomplish this by educating new employees about our amazing contract and taking part in visible union activities and taking part in conversation about our everyday wins with our colleagues. These actions are going to increase member numbers, but it's also going to show OHSU that we are incredibly powerful before we head into bargaining. OHSU should fear the next bargaining team because they're going to know that we are going to fight for our contract. And the fight's going to be really hard this time. And the reason it's going to be hard is because the other unions at OHSU are showing their strength and they're demanding more, rightly so, and we support them. However, it's going to challenge us to demand and convince OHSU to give us our share of what they're so protective over, which is money. We have to be strong at all times, at the table and away from the table. And the other challenge that I see is the Legacy merger. There are unknowns at every level. and it's going to be extremely important for us to be ready for whatever comes our way. Member numbers and the workplace problems that come with them are going to increase, and that's going to happen dramatically. We have to be ready to address these swiftly and efficiently, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. What is your long-term goal as a union leader?
So just like the Girl Scout that I was in grade school, I want to leave my position in a better place than when I found it. I want to write up standard operating procedures to ensure that all the activities that our union embarks on are done correctly and efficiently so that we can concentrate on exerting power and defending members. SOPs are also going to ensure that any person in our union who wants to step up to high-level leadership is going to be set up for success. They're not going to guess how to conduct bargaining or elections, or much less hope that day-to-day operations are going to be done and done well. They won't have to cross their fingers and hope for the best. They're going to be supported in their service to our members by previous leaders, and our members really deserve nothing less. And in my mind, we're going to know when we achieve a goal of having a democratic and member-led union, when we see elections in which every single top seat is contested. No board seats are going to remain vacant, much less we won't have to worry about the diversity that's on the board. We need to get the seats filled. When no department goes without a steward, and no member goes into an investigatory meeting with no one there to defend them because we don't have engaged membership that shows up for each other. And I also want to see the day where management, currently we hear talk that management is frustrated with OHSU because they're not getting raises at the amount that we get. They're frustrated that some of their employees make more money than they do. I want to see the day when every single manager feels that way, and they're going to be having pipe dreams at night about joining a union, but they can't. And that's when I know that I will have achieved what I want as a union leader. The fight matters every single day, but right now is a turning point where decisions matter more than ever. I think I've clarified why. But if you want the opportunity to actually ask me tough questions or to voice your experience in the union, our slate is having interactive forums next Monday. You can find out more about them at our website at 328forthemembers.com. You can also find out more about our slate and all of our candidates. Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful. And I'm really hoping that this becomes a long-standing thing for all of our elections. So thanks all.
Thank you, Jenny.
I hit the wrong person and sent Sarah back instead of Jenny. My
I'll
apologies.
stay.
Nice move by me. Give me a second, Sarah. Not my best move.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Probably take a second for my camera to come back on, but I'm here. All right, thank you for all of our speakers. We appreciate your time so much. We do have a closing statement from TJ.
Yeah.
And some reminders.
This is the very first time I've ever done a candidate forum. This is a really exciting time. This is a really exciting election. Voting for the election will open on September 5th and run through September 12th. You'll be able to vote online through the Hub, which is our local's new member database. Do we have a chat we can put out with the link to the Hub? I don't know if we do or not. Well, we may or may not. I'd also encourage everyone who attended to talk about the forum with their coworkers. We really want to see a really robust election this year. And also for people who missed the forum, all these candidates have their statements online on our blog. And so we really encourage people to be informed about who these candidates are and to be able to talk about this election with your coworkers. And with that wraps this up. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Ross did pop in a link there to the chat to the hub. It also will come out in an email. You'll get an email reminder for the elections as well. Thank you, everyone.